What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Vegas 91. We got Mateus Nicola going against Alex Perez. We are back in the Apex after a 1-week break, and we got a 13-fight card here. Overall, I'll say the card should deliver. From a violence perspective, I think there's going to be a lot of violent fights, a lot of finishes, especially on this main card. The prelims, there's a couple that I could care less about, but there's a couple I'm really excited about, like the first fight of the night, Mahashate Benitez, and then we got Na Liang going against Ivana Petrovic. Should be fun. Overall, I think it's a solid fight night card. Looking forward to breaking it down from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you do want a further, more in-depth breakdown on why I'm picking who, or just want a more in-depth breakdown, I did do a full card breakdown prediction video on Monday. And lastly, I do want to shout out the winner for the contest I did for UFC 300 on the betting breakdown video. And the contest was give your biggest plus money prop. And I want to shout a lot of you guys out. We did this for UFC 299, and I think only one person got anything correct. But a lot of people hit a lot of big plus money plays. But the winner was a big one. It was shout out to John Doe, aka Christopher, hitting a plus 5,000 Max Holloway round 5 prop. Was able to hit up Chris to get him his winnings, but to be honest, he didn't really need the winnings because he put $40 on it to win $2,040. So shout out to you, Christopher. You killed it. You hit a big play, and I couldn't even imagine your reaction to hitting that big prop. I had a big prop on Max Holloway myself, but not a big plus 5,000. So shout out to you. And yeah, we're going to break down this card now. It's a card that I'm keeping, fairly light. It's a card that there's a lot of sketchy fights. It's an Apex card. We've been there, done that. This is the 91st card at the Apex, so we know by now. But I say we get into it. We're going to start with the first fight on the card. We got Mahashate going against Gabriel Benitez. I'm passing here, but I think under 2.5, fight doesn't go to decision. They make a lot of sense. I think somebody does get finished here. I think Mahashate by knockout makes a lot of sense. It is plus money. I was hoping to get a better price, but they're kind of all over it. I like Mahashate here. I don't really like him at minus 240, but this is a guy that's going to be much younger, much bigger as well. He hits hard, and Benitez, 35, 36 years old at this point. He's taking a ton of damage. The durability is not really where it needs to be. I think Mahashate knocks him out, but in terms of a bet, not really running to the window for anything on this fight, to be honest. Next, we got Ivana Petrovic going against Liang Na, my girl. And my night pretty much comes down to this fight. I have the fight doesn't go to decision tied to 2 parlays. I have 2 parlays on this card. The fight doesn't go to decision, parlayed in both. So yeah, I like violence here. A couple things I want to mention. Na Liang has 26 fights. 25 of them have finished inside the distance. 25 of them have finished before round 3, and 23 out of 26 have finished under 1.5 rounds. So I think we get violence here one way or another. I don't think the Liang Na round 1 prop's the worst look in the world. That's literally how she wins. She's not winning any other way outside of round 1. I'm not playing it personally. I'll be rooting for her, but what I'll be rooting mostly for is that violence. I think it's Liang Na early in round 1. More specifically, the first couple minutes, and if not, I think Petrovic takes over and finishes shortly after round 2. I don't think it gets to round 3, and to be honest, I wouldn't even be shocked if Petrovic finished late round 1 as well. So just give me violence here. Fight doesn't go to decision, a key parlay piece for me. If this fight does go the distance, I'm probably going to have a losing night unless I hit some of these bigger props that I have later in the card. Fight won't start round 3. I think is a solid look, under 2.5. So all solid. Anything violence on this fight is a solid look, and I would tread lightly on any overs in a Liang Na fight, that's for sure. But yeah, fight doesn't go to decision. 3 units total on these parlays. I'll touch on my parlays towards the end here when we get to the next legs. Next, we got James Yantop going against Chris Padilla. Yantop, I was very impressed with what I saw in the Contender Series. Some people were crapping on that performance. If you're crapping on that performance, I don't think you watched the fight, or I think you're forgetting what happened. He went out there and beat the brakes off of Malik Lewis across 3 rounds. He hurt him in every single round, the first, second, and third. Dropped him a couple times, hurt him to the body a couple times. I'm kind of shocked he didn't get him out of there, but yeah. He showed a lot of great things in that fight. He's taken on Chris Padilla, who took the fight on Monday. Padilla made weight. Yantop actually missed weight by 0.5 pound. I'm not sure if he came back in and cut the extra 0.5 pound, but regardless, I like Yantop here. It's just the guy is minus 440. There's not much you can do here with it. I was looking maybe at like an over 1.5, but I don't love it. Not much sticking out in this fight, but Yontop should go out there and win. But minus 440, what can you do? Ketlin Souza going against Marnik Mann. Yeah, there's a couple prelims on this card which just like I would never touch any of these fights in my life, and this is one of them. Ketlin Souza, probably shouldn't be minus 375 against anybody, including Marnik Mann. But at the same time, like, I don't want to bet on Marnik Mann. Marnik Mann has a path here with the wrestling, with the grappling, but I just really don't trust her to do it. So should you lay minus 375 on Ketlin Souza? Absolutely not. Should you bet the dog, Marnik Mann? Probably not as well. You probably shouldn't bet this fight. No props sticking out, no money line sticking out. Moving on. Kyle Machado going against Dontel Mays. Probably the worst fight on the card. Your typical low-level heavyweight fight. They're going to go the distance. I don't really see a finish here. It's going to be close. It's going to be greasy. Kyle Machado was an underdog last week. He's now a pick'em. He was a favorite. Now it's a pick'em. I would have probably bet him as an underdog and probably felt terribly about it all week, but I do like the striking of Kyle Machado in terms of the volume. Like, this is a guy that can go out there and land well over 100 significant strikes across 15 minutes. I like it. Whereas Dontel Mays, a little bit lower volume, a little bit slower. I'm not sure if Mays is going to try to wrestle here. I think that would probably be the game plan. I think the people that are betting Mays are kind of hoping for that. Because on the feet, I do think Machado is probably the more active fighter, but yeah, like I said, it probably goes to decision. It's probably greasy. It's probably close. I think a pick'em just makes a ton of sense to me, and it's a fight I'll be staying far, far away from. Next, we got Michael Figlak going against Austin Hubbard. I think this fight might even be worse than the last fight in terms of, at least from a betting perspective. Michael Figlak, I think he's a lot better than he showed on his debut against Fares Ziam. But I just can't get the image out of my head of Fares Ziam going out there and just dominating Michael Figlak on the ground. Like, just taking him down, out grappling him, putting him into bad position. Like, it was a tough look. Fares Ziam is a striker. He's a kickboxer. It's typically other guys are taking Fares Ziam down and having success. But it was actually Ziam that looked like Khamzat Chimaev out there against the guy. With that said, though, I think Figlak is a lot better than he showed in his debut. He's taken a really long layoff. It's almost a 2-year layoff. He's a young guy, so I do think we'll see a better version of the guy, but I just don't see how, you can watch that Zion fight and feel comfortable putting money on the guy. But at the same time, like, can you bet Austin Hubbard? I really don't want to. So it's one of those fights where it's a dog or pass, but I just can't bring myself to place a bet on Austin Hubbard, and I do have a feeling that we do see a much better version of Michael Figlak. But the path is there for Hubbard. It's just I can't get there. I don't want to bet a lot of these prelims, to be honest, and this is one of them. Next, we have the feature prelim, a fight where I do have a bet. We got Victor Henry going against Rani Yahya. I am on the Victor Henry late props here. I'm on the round 2 and round 3 knockout props, a quarter unit on each. And yeah, I think that there's a good chance that Victor Henry, if Victor Henry wants to finish this fight, he will. All he has to do is push a pace, show some urgency. Don't follow Rani Yahya to the ground, and I think he finishes them round 2, round 3. Rani Yahya is typically a tough and durable guy, but he's now 40 years old at this point. I think actually he's 39, but the guy looks like 67 years old. He's taken a lot of damage throughout the career. He's been fighting for forever at this point. Victor Henry, I just think it's a great matchup for him. I'm kind of surprised that money's coming in on Rani Yahya. Victor Henry was like minus 500, minus 600. He's now only minus 365. I just don't know what the path for Rani Yahya would be. I don't think he's controlling him for 2 out of the 3 rounds, and I don't really think he's subbing him either. So I don't mind Victor Henry actually as a parlay piece, but I did play the round 2, round 3 for Victor Henry by knockout. Round 2 KO plus 800. Round 3 KO plus 1100. Looking for Henry to push a pace and hopefully get Yahya out of there late. My concern is, it's kind of tough to finish these BJJ guys. Like, they'll get hurt, they'll flop to their back, and then that just wastes a lot of time off the clock. I could see something like that. I could see Victor Henry knocking him down 5 times and going to decision, which would be annoying. But if Victor Henry wants to, I think he does finish here. Quarter unit on those sprinkles for me. Next, we got Uros Medic going against Tim Means. Yeah, I like violence here. This is a Uros Medic fight. Uros Medic has never been the distance, and I don't think that's going to change here. 100% finish rate in Medic's wins, and a 100% finish rate in his losses, both coming by submission. Tim Means is a guy that is a very dangerous striker in his own right. He's a black belt in BJJ. He has power still at 40 years old, and I think these two are going to want to do the same exact thing, which is, come forward, stand and bang until someone falls, and I think someone does fall indeed. I played the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 225. I think there's value on that line. I put 1.5 units on it. Under 2.5, solid. Fight won't start round 3, maybe solid, but I just took the fight doesn't go to decision. I think someone gets served here. I think it's more than likely Means being the one getting served, but, Medic kind of, he's dropped the ball in the past. He's been finished twice. And maybe Tim Means does pull off the upset, but I'm going violent here. Just give me the fight doesn't go to decision. Laying the chalk, which I've typically been trying to stay away from, but, it's a play that I think hits. Next, we got Jonathan Pierce going against David Onama. Kind of a closely lined fight. David Onama did miss weight by a couple pounds, which, you can make a couple cases in terms of, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? You could think that, maybe the weight advantage helps Onama with the wrestling, the grappling, which would be a good thing. But, did he miss weight because of, an injury, a bad camp? And I think that this fight actually didn't get put together that long ago. So, yeah, you can look at it both ways, but I'm not really factoring it into my analysis too much. And I like Pierce here. Nothing's really changed. I like Pierce to just implement his will, implement his game plan. Pierce is a guy that pushes the pace, a very hard pace. This guy can wrestle. And he's one of those guys that he'll take you down. And if you get back up, you're going right back down. And he's going to rinse and repeat, break you down, cook you and finish you. Jonathan Pierce has multiple round 2, round 3 finishes. He's a finisher. He has I think almost like a 90% finish rate. The times that he did win by decision, like that Darren Elkins fight, should have been stopped. And I know David Onama's never been finished, but Nate Landwehr let him off the hook, and even Mason Jones had him in some bad spots. So I just see Jonathan Pierce breaking him down and finishing him in that second or third round. I have the Jonathan Pierce round 2, round 3 props. You can never go wrong with Jonathan Pierce round 2, round 3, quarter unit on each, plus 700 for round 2, plus 1100 for round 3 there. And then I also put 1 unit on the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 175. I think it's a violent fight. I think Pierce is live for that 2-3. And then I think Onama, if Onama wins, it's probably a first round knockout. Onama has a lot of power. Onama also has a little bit of a submission game as well, and Pierce has been finished 4 times. Pierce, he's capable of being finished. So if Onama's able to, ace stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet, he's probably going to knock out Pierce. And we've seen Pierce put his neck into some bad spots. So I think Onama's alive in that aspect of things. But I think the more likely scenario is Jonathan Pierce breaking him down and finishing him down the stretch. All right, moving on. We have Janata Deniz going against Austin Lane. This is going to close out the first parlay for me. I have Liang Na, Ivana Petrovic, fight doesn't go to decision. Parlayed with Ryan Spann, Bogdan Gusov, fight won't start round 3. Comes out to minus 150, and I have 1.5 units on that. And yeah, I think somebody's getting served here. I think it's in the first round more than likely, and I think it's a good spot for Deniz here. Deniz is a guy, kickboxing background, 6 wins, all 6 come in the first round. Austin Lane, 4 knockout losses, all 4 come in the first round. Austin Lane, very hittable, has that tall man's defense, and doesn't really have the chin to back it up. I think Deniz is going to plot forward and land a big shot. But yeah, I think the fight won't start round 3. Great parlay piece. I struggle to see this going 10 minutes. And even the under 1.5, I think is a solid parlay piece. I struggle to see this going 7.5 minutes. But yeah, I did personally parlay up that fight won't start round 3 with Petrovic. Fight doesn't go to decision for 1.5 units. Moving on, we got Karina Silva going against Ariana Lipsky. And yeah, there's a spot that I like here. So Ariana Lipsky has proven me wrong, I think the last 3 times. I was definitely on Gatto. I was definitely on Casey O'Neill. And I picked Aldrich, but I didn't bet Aldrich. Aldrich was minus 400 in that spot. But yeah, I picked against Lipsky in her last 3 fights. I'm picking against her here again. Lipsky's looked great as of late. Her takedown defense has looked just so much improved. But, there's a big difference between a JJ Aldrich and even like a Gatto and Casey O'Neill. Like Karina Silva, I think she's just different. She's so dangerous wherever the fight goes. If this fight hits the mat, it's over in an instant. In terms of the ground game, it's It's night and day between these two. We saw Lipsky get just dominated by fighters like Antonina Shevchenko and Montana De La Rosa. Like, the floor is lava here for Lipsky. If the fight hits the ground, it's a wrap. And then even on the feet, Lipsky probably the minute winner here, but Karina Silva packs heat. She throws hard. She hits hard. And Lipsky, she's kind of chinny. Like, she's been knocked out 4 times. She's been hurt a lot. Priscilla Cachoeira, does she have power? Yeah, but, I mean, come on. That wasn't the best look, seeing Priscilla go out there and knock her out in about 60 seconds. So even if Silva doesn't get the fight down to the mat, I think she can knock her down and then get on top and finish her, or knock her out on the feet. So if you like Lipsky, maybe Lipsky round 3 or decision, but I think Silva either gets the fight to the ground and finds the sub, or club and subs are here. So I like Silva, and how I'm playing it is, instead of laying the minus 160 on the money line, I am taking her best win condition, which is going to be Silva to win in rounds 1 or rounds 2, which is plus 175. Silva has 17 wins, and all 17 have come in round 1 or round 2. If this fight does get to round 3, probably not good, and she probably goes on to maybe lose the fight. But I think Silva does get it early in the first or second round. 1 unit, plus 175 for Silva round 1, round 2. Then we got Span Gusov. This is going to close out the other parlay for me. I have the same thing. Fight won't start round 3. Parlayed with the Liang Na Petrovic fight doesn't go to decision. Came out to minus 150, and I have 1.5 units on that. I think this fight ends probably in the first round. You know, this is a fight where both guys, very dangerous. Both guys pass the finish. Ryan Span can knock him out or sub him. And then Bogdan Gusov, he has power. He can knock out Span. I struggle to trust both these guys in their durability. Guskov's been finished in 2 of his 3 losses, 1 by knockout, 1 by sub. And even Span's been finished 6 times. In terms of like a side here, I do lean Span. It's just Span's one of those guys that is so hit or miss. I think he's the much skilled fighter, but it wouldn't be shocking if, Gusov went out there and took his head off. But yeah, Span should win this fight. It's just I don't trust the dude. But what I do trust, though, is violence. I like the fight won't start round 3 as a parlay piece. I'm on it. And then also maybe even under 1.5 if you want to be a little bit more aggressive there, which I do struggle to see this going 7.5 minutes as well. So yeah, that closes out the second parlay of the card for me. And then we got the main event. We got Nicola, Alex Perez. I'm not touching this fight. I could see this fight playing out so many different ways. I like Nicola here, but I don't trust the durability. He's been knocked out in all 3 of his losses. I don't trust the volume. I don't trust the willingness to grapple in this fight specifically. So I like him to win. I think he's more skilled. I think he's the better striker. I think he has really good grappling success if it does go down to the mat. It's just I don't really trust him to get it down there. I don't really trust him to throw as much volume as I would like to see. So I'm not touching it. But yeah, I could see Nicola winning by decision. I could see Nicola winning by submission, maybe even by knockout. He has a lot of power. I could just see this fight going so many different ways. And even Alex Perez could be live here. Like, this could be, I hate to say it, like a really slow-paced, boring fight, because that's just how Nicola fights. He's so calculated. He's so smart. He takes his time. He slows the fight down, which is great. It's just, not the most exciting fight to watch. So I'm not touching the main event, but the pick is going to be Nicola. All right, quick recap on the bets, keeping it light, short and sweet. The 2 parlays, 1.5 units on each. The first parlay, the fight won't start round 3. Ryan Span, Bogdan Gusov, parlayed with Petrovic, Liang Na, fight doesn't go to decision. Minus 150, 1.5 units. The second parlay, Petrovic, Liang Na, fight doesn't go to decision, parlayed with the fight won't start round 3 in the Lane Denise fight. Minus 150, 1.5 units. I got Silva wins in round 1 or round 2, 1 unit plus 175. I have 1 unit on the Jonathan Pierce, David Onama fight doesn't go the distance, minus 175. Pierce round 2, quarter unit, plus 700. Pierce round 3, quarter unit, plus 1100. I have Beans Medic fight doesn't go the distance, minus 225 for 1.5 units. And then lastly, I have Victor Henry KO2, quarter unit, plus 800. Victor Henry KO3, quarter unit, plus 1100. There you guys have it. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 91. We have a pay-per-view next card, UFC 301. Do me a favor, leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. And best of luck, guys. And we'll talk to you soon. See you later.